What's the meaning of life? That's like a big question, you know? I mean, people, they get up, they go to work, they come home. I've been depressed lately. That's why I haven't done a podcast. I'm not sad about anything. There's a difference between being sad and depressed. People who know me, they tell me, they say, you know, you're kind of like depressed. You're kind of, what are you depressed about? Are you sad about something? Is there something you want to talk about? And no, there's a difference between being sad and being depressed. Sad is when you're sad about something. Depressed is when you look at everything and go, what's the fucking point? And you just feel like sitting down in a bed and just never getting up and never doing anything. And you feel like there's no motivation for you to do anything. You feel very low. People say, well, that's an illness, you should do something about that. I've listened to psychiatrists. I've actually was told once, well, it sounds like you have clinical depression, and what they do is they give you something to re-stabilize the chemicals in your brain, to normalize you so that you're not depressed. But to me, that's wrong. And I'll tell you why I say that's wrong. Because if you are depressed, if there is some sort of chemical imbalance within you, it's based on something psychological or spiritual. So I don't believe in taking pills to, you know, make those chemicals in your brain change so that you're more normal. I don't believe in that. I believe you get to the source of what your spiritual or psychological problems are, and the rest will follow. I'm not so depressed that I can't get out of bed and go to work. I've never been on that level. But you know, that's because I'm laying in the bed going, like even today, because this has been going on for about a week. That's why I haven't done any of this podcast stuff. I'm just laying there thinking to myself, I don't want to get up out of bed. I don't want to go to work. Why can't I have the day off? And I realized I could call in sick. I'm not sick. I could call in sick and say, why do I don't even want to do this. I want to stay home. But you sit there, your mind starts working and says, look, you got to pay your bills. You got to make money. You're supposed to go to work. You might not want to go to work. Because right now I'm working in the photo department instead of the liquor department, which is far more stressful and demanding. There's always 3 or 4 people who need something at once. I prefer working where I used to work, but I'm in a, and it's like, that's not what's depressing me, but there's a difference between depression and sadness. And I'm not sad, I just feel, sometimes I don't want to do something. But when I start thinking and saying, oh, well, you have to do this, otherwise you're not going to be able to pay your bills, I get right up out of bed and do what I'm supposed to do. Sadness and depression, 2 different things. Sadness is like, my dog died. I lost my job, you know, something heavy. Depression is when you feel numbness. You feel emptiness. You feel unsatisfied psychologically, unsatisfied spiritually. And there are people that I know who do not suffer from this. They don't care. There's a neighbor right down the street. The guy hasn't had work in a while. He actually fixed my roof for me. He's a roofer. He's wondering where money is going to come from. I paid him a little bit of money to help me out with this problem, and he was ecstatic because he could go pick himself up some beer. And as long as he has a roof over his head and he's got his beer and his TV on with his cable, he doesn't care about it. That's good enough for him. The man doesn't have a job. He doesn't have, well, a steady job. He doesn't have a car. He's a grown man. He rides a bicycle. He's sleeping in like somebody else's back room with a TV. He said, as long as I got my TV and my beer, I'm okay. This is not a dumb man, but a simple man. A man without need. A man who is not complicated. I admire that. I envy that. I look at this guy. I've said to him before, I said, man, you just don't care, do you? Because if it were me and I was in that spot and I'm like sleeping in somebody's back room and I can't afford to live anywhere else, and you know, I don't really have a steady job and I don't have a car and I'm riding a bicycle everywhere, and all I've got is some fucking TV to watch, and some. All he cares about is like, so. Well, I got my 4-pack here, and I got my half a pack of cigarettes, and I'm watching NASCAR. All is well with the world. The guy doesn't need anything. And then there are people like me. My phone is ringing. Who the hell is that? Oh, it's I actually have to take this phone call. It's from work. Hang on. I'm going to stop the tape.
But no.
That was my Skype. I had to answer that. Had to stop the tape. That was a call from work. Thankfully, the Skype is up and running. There was an outage yesterday affecting like millions of people. There seems to be some confusion about which department it is I'm supposed to work in. They're very disorganized at work because they're very busy there at all times, and often they don't know what person is scheduled to go to which department. There's questions and confusion. So actually, I don't know where I'm going, and that's fine. I don't care. I don't have any anxiety about that. I hate it when a podcast gets interrupted by something, but I may just leave it in there anyway, instead of editing it out. I don't like to edit things, ever. I like things to be real. But I want to get back to what I was talking about before, which is that I envy people who are simple. Simple. Their needs are simple. There's somebody like me who, this guy will often straighten me out. Like I said, he's a neighbor. His bicycle actually broke. He actually walks to my house, uses my bicycle to go wherever he needs to go, and then brings it back and locks it up, which I don't mind because I don't use it. He actually fixed it a couple of days ago. It was broken. He changed the tire on one of them, so I was thankful that he did that because I wasn't going to spend a couple of hours unscrewing a rim off and putting a new tire in an inner tube, and I wasn't going to do all of that. So he did all of that because he uses my bicycle because his broke, and he's satisfied to walk to somebody else's house, unlock it, and ride his bicycle to wherever he needs to go. And go home, or he's happy when he gets a day of work and he gets a little bit of money, and the guy is living, but he straightens me out psychologically. This is a guy, he talks to me, he says, I don't get it, Richard. I don't get you. You got a good job, you got a roof over your head, you get a steady job, you got a car, you live alone, you don't live in somebody's back room, you got your bills paid, right? What the hell are you depressed about? What are you worried about? Everything's fine. You got your little computer there that you do your things on. What are you worried about all the time? And he's kind of like he brings me down to reality, because it's good to talk to somebody who has like probably a better perspective on life than I do. Because this is a guy who says, look, you got a roof over your head, you got a bed to sleep in, you got food, right? You have a job, you have a car. What's the problem? What are you upset about? You know? And there's so many times that he said that to me, I'm like, this guy's right. You know? Not that we have any long or deep conversations, but I think he's right. Because I'm the type of guy, if I had everything, if I had everything that I wanted, I would still sit there and go, I don't know, something's missing. I need something else, and I don't know what it is. And you try to figure yourself out, and you try to you're always in search of substance, of meaning. And issues of substance and meaning can only be solved by the spiritual. By changing your perspective, or love for somebody else, or friendship, or a sense of community or family. Those are the only things that nourish somebody on a spiritual level. And there are people out there who could have millions of dollars and be famous and wealthy, and they've got all these things, and they've got success, and they're respected. There are people like that. But if you don't have real substance, meaning for your life, if all you do is get up out of bed and go to a job and come home, and, you know, to some people go, you know, life is about sitting down and eating a sandwich and then going to sleep, and what more do you need to do? You say this sucks. You don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. You might end up sleeping on somebody's couch, and you can't get a driver's license. You don't have a car. This kind of sucks. And this guy will, like a guy like Jim that I just mentioned, who fixed my bike, he'll hold up like a sandwich he's eating. He'll say, "This is the best. You taste that. That's one of the best honey glazed chicken sandwiches I've ever eaten in my life. What could be wrong with the world when I have a sandwich like this?" And the man is fucking happy. He points to his chair, says, "This is the chair I sit down in. This is the bed that I sleep in. TV's on. I got a 4-pack of beer over there. What more do you need?" And the man is fucking satisfied with his life. Now, no, some people would say, well, that makes somebody a loser. I disagree. I look at somebody like that and I go, wow, the peace of mind of that, the person who doesn't feel like they're missing anything. They don't feel like they're wasting their life in any way. They don't hunger for any substance. There's a guy like me who says, what am I going to be remembered for when I'm dead? Which is so egotistical and so fucking vain. Vain. What am I going to be remembered? Am I going to leave some sort of impact here on the, delusions of grandeur and I want to be regarded as some sort of a genius or something. I want to contribute something to society. And here's this guy just saying, I just want to sit down, watch TV, go to work. I want to eat a bowl of SpaghettiOs. Ah, that's good. Hits the spot. That's what life's all about. Going to sleep when you're tired, eating food when you're hungry. And he doesn't need anything else. And I've always admired that simplicity, man. I admire that. I envy people who have no ambition. Oh, those people are so happy. And they're not dumb. They're just simple. They keep everything nice and simple. This is the kind of person who will look up into the sky and say, don't you notice it's a nice day out? Look at that cloud over there. And he'll just sit there and appreciate that. Sure, it's because he's stoned. It's because he smoked a joint or something. But he's happier than I am. And I'm envious of happy people. Happy people, I am envious of them. They are appreciating life. And maybe that's the fuel that makes people go. Maybe that's the fuel that drives people forward and gets them to do things. It's that feeling of, this is good and I enjoy this. Which is the opposite of a depression, which is a nothing feeling, an emptiness. These people are constantly full. Food tastes better to them. Jokes are funnier. And they don't care about the future, and they don't worry about things. So there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for, let's say, not being so intellectual, or not being so observational about society and all the things that are wrong with it. There's something to be said for just enjoying a sandwich and sitting in a comfortable chair and go, if life doesn't get any better than this, why should it be? This is just fine. Like I said, I've always envied those people. Sure, they're not going to accomplish anything. But what am I accomplishing? Am I accomplishing anything? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know, the meaning of life. Back to that question. There are some people who seem to have absolutely no meaning to their life whatsoever, and they don't care. It's fine. They say, well, why should life even have a meaning? Life's about going to work to pay the bills, coming home and watching TV, going to sleep, drinking a beer, eating food. What more do you need? What more do you need? And they don't care about anything else. And I envy that. I envy those people. I just envy them. I guess that's my thought for the day.